Hello everyone, I'm Trinh, Senior Application Engineer for Valin Corporation. Today I will illustrate how the recipe works on the Horner Automation PLC or the X series as well as X Prime series, and it will work with all the sizes. What I have in front of me today is the X7 OCS, and the model is X7R, which means this is a 7-inch HMI with the PLC built in. With that, I'm going to press this button here that let me go into the recipe screen. As you can see here, I have load recipe, I have save recipe, I have edit recipe. So let's say this is what I have, right? I have the water, the flour, these are ingredients that I have. I have sugar, and then I have item number 4, item number 5, item number 6, 7, 8, and 9. So I have 10 different ingredients in my recipe, okay? And let's say I want to load the recipe, so I click here, all right? And right now I have AM cookies, I have tiramisu, I have TIMCOOKIE, and some other recipes in here. But let's say I want to load the AM cookie, so I can just select that and then click enter, and then voila. So that's the recipe for the almond cookies. If I want to load another recipe, I can certainly do that. I click load here. I'm going to click TIMCOOKIE. All right, click enter, and you see now the ingredients for TIMCOOKIE are here. If I want to change the recipe, I can certainly do that. I can go here. I can change, let's say, the water here. This I'm going to change to 315. Actually, let's make it 3315. Hit enter, and voila. Okay. Let's say I want to save this back to TIMCOOKIE. So I click here, save, click TIMCOOKIE, and save. So it's override. Now I'm going to load another recipe here. Let's say tiramisu. Okay. All right. So these are what I have. The water I have 2.11, and flour I have 2.20, and so forth. Okay. Now let's say I want to make sure that whatever I save in TIMCOOKIEs was there still. So I click load, and I go to TIMCOOKIE, click enter, and you see the water that has 33.15 is still there. Okay. So that's how it works. Oh, the edit recipes, that allows you to change the name of the cookie itself and so forth. So let's say I want to go to TIMCOOKIE and I want to change the name. So I click on that. Okay. Now I can say TIMCOOKIE. I didn't hit enter. Okay. TIMCOOKIE. Click enter. All right. So I'm done here. Let me get out. Let me exit. And now you can see I changed the TIMCOOKIE to TIMCOOKIE. Okay? Exit out, exit out. Okay. So if I load recipe, yep, you see it changing it. Okay? So that's how the screen allows you to do all this. Okay? So how do you set it up in the software? It's very simple. The software itself is Seascape, and this, by the way, is free program for both HMI as well as the PLC. Okay, so what we're going to do is I already have the program open, and I'll show you how to set it up. So you click on recipes, okay, and the recipe that I created, as you can see in here, right, I have 10 ingredients, and that's what needs the ingredient right here, all right? Now, what you need to do is to right mouse click on the water, and here you select the numeric type, you select the address, which is the register 1300, and I set up the register width to be 32 bits because I want a floating point. So the format, you select decimal, and whatever the format you select here. In this case, I'm select 123.4.12. And also you can give the minimum and maximum. I just leave it at a max at this, where you can put the top. The maximum is how much you want to put in there, okay? So you click OK. So when you finish that, you do the same thing for this as well, right? Oh, you can also enter the value here if you want to as well, okay? So I'm going to leave it there. Then I go to the flour. Because of the floating point, it's 32 bits. That's why the address here is 1302 and so forth, okay? So in my example, I have up to 10 ingredients. And these icon basically allows you to insert a product and delete a product. So these are my product. I have almond cookies, AM_cookies. I have tiramisus. I have TIMCOOKIE, which is, I changed it in the screen, but I have it here. So what you can see, you can change on the screen as well. But I want to show, so this is what you have. And you can go on and add, the number of products if you want to. So that's how you set up the recipe within the PLC portion of it. So now let's go to the HMI. So I'm going to close this. I'm going to go to HMI, which is to this. Okay, HMI is right here. So I'm going to bring it up to show you. Okay, so that's my HMI, right? So this is the main screen, like what you see here, okay? This screen is a recipe screen. So I'm going to go to that by clicking this right here. And this is my recipe screen, okay? So in here, basically, I have 3 buttons. One of them is load recipe, which I use the button type is load. And I have load, save, and edit, okay? And view. So this is load. This one is save recipe. And this one is edit recipe, okay? And this ingredient is basically a numeric display, which is this one. So if I click on it, right? So the address is register 1300, as you remember I set up in my recipe, right? The format is decimal, and this is how I want it to be come out, to be displayed. 4 digits with a 2 decimal points. The font, I can change the font if I want to. I want to enable this edit, so it allows me to change this value, okay? That's what the edit there is for, okay? And I can change, again, the maximum and the minimum, and also, I want to change the font and so forth. It's all I do, Okay. So you do that for all of them, and that's it. So that's how it works. The other good thing on this is because everything that you see on here, it's reside on the SD card. So if you want to do the recipe within your Excel and then download to this, you can certainly do that. So let me show you this. So, or you want to get the recipe out, you can do the same thing. So I'm going to pull up my FTP. Okay, so this is my FTP, right? So I'm connected to the unit itself, and the recipe that I have is this is the clean recipe CSV. Okay, now if I want to bring this over here, I just double click on it. All right, so it's override. So if I go to my clean rcp.csv, which is here, I'm going to bring it up. Actually, I'm going to go directly to that. So here we go. Clean rcp.csv. I'm going to open it up. You see, remember I changed, right, the name to the TIMCOOKIE. So now it has the TIMCOOKIE, all right? Now let's say I'm going to do this. I'm going to put the value. I'm going to change the value so to show you I can go from the PC and transfer it over to the unit itself. So I'm going to change it to, let's say, I put it on a 333.15, okay? I'm going to save it, okay? Now I'm going to go to my FTP, right? I'm going to delete this, okay? Now I'm going to bring this, I'm going to do a refresh real quick, okay? Now I'm going to bring this over here. So now, if everything works fine, if I go and load TIMCOOKIE, you see now it's 333.15. Simple as that. Okay, so that's how the recipe feature works in the Horner Automation PLC and the HMI all-in-one. And the model I'm using here is X7 series, X7 OCS, and the model is X7R. But again, it will work with any size that Horner PLC, Horner Automation PLC have. If you have any questions, please call the number below, and thank you for watching.